So we all buy online. We buy our groceries online. We purchase our wardrobe online, and it's all about deals, bargains, and Black Fridays online. In the last years, we see such outstanding online shopping experiences that we actually take these experiences for granted. But in reality, the task of creating a world-class e-commerce platform takes tremendous effort, teamwork, and analyzing a lot of data. So our Ask Me Anything session today is all about e-commerce product management, the art of e-commerce product management, and if you will, and our opportunity to thank all these wonderful e-commerce PMs who make our life a little easier. Hello, leaguers, and welcome to today's Ask Me Anything session, the place where talented and curious product managers just like you get the opportunity to ask us anything. And today, as you already know, it's all about e-commerce product management. By the way, it's nice meeting you. My name is Maria Cassis, and I'm the founder and general manager of Product League. Product League is where we help you to become the best product manager you can be. We are a mentoring program for product managers by product managers in 30 countries worldwide, from Australia to Nigeria, from Ukraine to Brazil, and everywhere in between. Now, I want to get to know you. So please use the chat wherever it is that you watch us online and tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, what products do you manage, because we want to make it into our little product party online. We can't wait to see you in the comments, guys. And now we've got 3 talented, dedicated, and experienced Product League mentors from the e-commerce domain to answer all your questions, all your wonders, big and small, about the art of building e-commerce products that users love to use. Well, we start with the amazing Renee, joining us live from Bavaria, Germany. Say Guten Tag to Renee Abuelala. Guten Tag it is.
Yeah, guten Tag. Hello, guys. Nice to meet you.
You say it much better than I do. Guten Tag. Principal at Involved and Product League mentor. Since 2014, his leadership roles allowed Renee the opportunity to coach and guide product managers with their business and personal growth in over 100 product teams. He specializes in product delivery and leadership. However, he's had some of his own great hacks in product discovery as well. And I hope that we will get the chance to talk about that as well. Welcome to our floor, Renee. What's up? How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me. Really excited.
It's a pleasure having you here. And one more thing about you. Beside being the Product League mentor is and the professional is, Renee is also passionate about golf. And he is a big football fan, not just a football fan.
Yeah.
You're actually a 49ers fan. Correct. So I think this is the right time to call to the stage the San Francisco guy, because we just talked about the 49ers.
Well, Renee, did you cry yesterday?
Oh, hell yeah. That was a disaster.
Yes. It's a sad moment for 49ers fans,
but you can share it online here. This is where you come together. This is where we come together. Amazing having you here with us, Kurt, joining us live from San Francisco. Please shout out a big hello to Kurt Prince, Senior Product Manager at Kruger and Product League mentor. Kurt is an e-commerce and mobile product manager with over a decade-long track record of creating and growing revenues and teams. He has prior brand experience with a number of national retailers, including Target, Best Buy, and Albertson, focusing on customer-facing initiatives. He recently joined Kruger to focus on enterprise system within their merchandising team, and we are so happy to have you here with us. What's up?
Well, welcome. It was disappointing because if anyone knows Kruger is based in Cincinnati. And so Cincinnati's going to the Super Bowl. We are not. So it would have been a lot of opportunities to dig into my coworkers back in Cincinnati, but we'll let it go.
So Ohio 1, California 0. But it is what it
California's
is.
it's still LA, so
It's
still
still
California.
LA. And it's still sunny, so it's
Yes, it is.
nicer than most other places. Very, very excited to have you here with us, Kurt. Thank you for joining us. And with no further ado, this is the right time to say hello to Alex.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hello. What's up?
Great. How's everybody?
Hello, you. Get ready to learn from Alex Razor from Tel Aviv, Israel, Senior Product Manager at Glasses USA, and of course, Product Lead Mentor. Alex has accompanied teams and companies through agile transformation, and he believes that empowering and motivating the employees on our team create great, innovative products. In addition to teaching and mentoring multiple product managers, teams and products in addition to mentoring multiple product managers, I'm so excited about having you here. This is what happens. He has managed successful product teams and products in e-commerce, sports, and lifestyle. And at Glasses USA, Alex, you are focusing on user retention, right? This is one of the things that you focus on.
Absolutely.
So this is a lot of what we are going to talk about today, as we are going to talk about e-commerce. And I'm so excited to have you here with us. So this is the right time to call everyone to the stage. Renee and Kurt are joining us here. I am so excited. I hope that you are as excited about this as I am. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be so educating to the team and everyone here that is joining us in the audience. It's another opportunity to tell everyone, guys, we want your questions. You have the chat. I see that there are already some very cool questions that were submitted to the guys. So please make sure to submit your question, because maybe you'll have the chance to get the answers that you are looking for. So how is it going to work? When you RSVP'd to the event, we ask you, what are the questions that you have when it comes to e-commerce product management? And from those questions that were submitted, we collected all the questions that were interesting, exciting, different, and things that we think that will make you into the best product manager that you can be. These are some of the questions that we are going to answer today, that the fellow mentors are going to answer today. And we also have the questions that you will submit in the chat. So again, 2 call to actions, everyone in the audience. First, show us some product love, like this video, share it with your colleagues, everyone who can benefit from this amazing session. And then please make sure to submit your questions, because we are just about to start, and I can promise you that it's going to be interesting. Now, guys, what do you say? Are we ready to start a session?
Yes.
Good to go.
Good to go it is. So we start with a question from Sasha. And he's asking a very valid question. He asks, what are the unique challenges of e-commerce product management? So actually, why do we need this session? Why is it different than other domains? What are the different challenges when we are talking about e-commerce product management? And Kurt, how about you starting answering this question?
Well, what's different is the products that you sell are rarely the products that you manage, and you really have to focus on the transaction and the entire user experience. So, I mean, I come from a big retail background, most recently grocery. And so I can tell you, I have not done any product management around celery or beer bottles or anything like that. But it's important to realize that it's part of the process, understanding the KPIs that drive things. And the challenge is that there are very few vanity metrics that you can hide behind in e-commerce. If you are choking it, you're not going to last too long. So
That's a very, very interesting answer. Thank you very much, Kurt. And Renee, the ball is in your court.
Yeah, from my experience, there are two things that makes e-commerce challenging. Actually, there's a lot of hygiene factors until now, yeah, where you can lose, where you don't really met them. And I give you an example from the pandemic, right? So everybody was offering pickup at store. Yeah, so it has become a hygiene factor in the omni-channel business, right? But the way you do it is so much different, yeah, from like walking in a jail along a yellow line up to just driving there, open the trunk, the guys put it in. Yeah, so you have to really think about what are your hygiene factors where you have to be good at, and then additionally you need to find something that actually is wowing the customer. So that's the first. And the second, and I don't know if it's in companies around the world, but at least here in Germany, Austria, it's a lot. Actually, you are building the product not for you but for your internal stakeholders, because most of the companies, they think, oh, we have to go digital, and they start an online shop for the regular business. So the actual users of the product you are building are your internal stakeholders, which makes the collaboration and of course the prioritization and decision making process for the product manager quite challenging, I would say. So you have to really find ways how to get through that.
And it's all about challenges. This is why we are meeting here today to discuss
Yep.
these challenges. Yes, so thank you very much, Renee. Alex, what do you think?
Well, I think that it's important to get to know the physical products as well as the online side. For example, at Glasses USA, it's a direct to consumer brand with online only presence for now. The challenge is, how do you get a person to try on glasses? What is the experience like? What does it matter about? Well, I see a couple of my colleagues are wearing glasses, so surely acutely aware of that, pun intended. So a lot of it is, how does the product feel? What is an acetate frame versus a titanium one? What is that? What is this? And how do you structure a trial experience, for example, a virtual one, around the actual physical product? What does a product make the user feel when they actually get it? They feel it, they touch it. How do you make sure they don't return it? So in my line of work, it's very important to understand the physical products, their attributes, and tailor an experience around that. And if you want the people to trust you and get the product, and make sure it matches what they saw online.
Very, very interesting indeed. Thank you very much, Alex. And actually, we're staying with you because another question was submitted and it will go to you. And it comes from Itai, who's asking, what is the relationship between the product and the marketing departments when discussing e-commerce?
Well, it is a vital one, and I have to just ever so slightly deviate from what Renee said, because for me, whether it's for acquisition or for retention, marketing is a vital stakeholder, but they're not my customer. My customer is the actual purchasing customer, whatever I deal with, whether it's vision insurance or retention, and I try to make sure it is that way. So when I plan something, when I plan to introduce value in some way to the product, I need to make sure that I have the whole marketing funnel that is related to that, either adjusted or just created from scratch. How will it affect the communication with the customer? Just like Kurt said, the entire holistic user experience, the dialogue we're having essentially with the users. And marketing, they are that voice. Obviously, I can communicate with the user on the site itself, so I can give them some helpful micro copy. I can give him tooltips. I can give him the explanation and structure the user experience flow in a way that it's clear. But if it's detached from the email, the SMS, the push notifications, the social media presence, everything else, he's not going to have the user, he are not going to have a cohesive experience, and they're going to feel like we're speaking in two different customer voices. And I would add to this question the relationship between product and marketing, and later down the line with the customer experience or customer service department. So you need to make sure that you, let's put it in a metaphorical way, the meat in that sandwich where the marketing acquisition brings in the customers or the retention, you deliver the product, and then if they have some issue, they have to go to the customer service or the customer experience team, that you well coordinated with them as well. But again, they are not the customer. Even if you're building some internal admin feature related to order tracking or whatnot, and they are kind of using their the product is purely internal, at the end of the day, those people are talking to actual customer. So if you're building something for customer service, trying to give them this 360-degree view of the customer is the end customer. You need to have the interviews with those people and with the stakeholders. So kind of that's for me the vital relationship. If you think you're servicing the marketing, just going to be let's say a scribe or a pipeline to deliver it, which I don't think this is the main goal of the product manager. And same with the customer service. You need to communicate very well with them and understand how they're serving the customer and how you're helping them serve the customer. That's for me.
Turn it from a leading generation ecosystem into a partnership where you build experiences together. Thank you very much, Alex. That was a brilliant answer. Thank you very much. And we are moving on to a question that comes from Ares, who is asking, what are the must-have tools you use to understand your users, assuming you are launching a new product? So you've got no previous data or user base to interact with. And this question goes to you, Rene. So what do you do?
Yeah, I understand this as like launching a new feature of a product or something. So it's actually product discovery, right? So when to do great product discovery, I think you need to do some preparation. So yeah, you need to have the willingness to try something new and fail, which is, quite tricky with a lot of C-levels that they also accept you failing at the end. But I think this is quite important, yeah, because you don't know what is coming out, right? So and that is I think one of the keys, so that the whole team will accept failure and learn from it, right? So then beside that, I actually always start with a set of hypotheses, right, which I'm going to validate about the product, yeah, because you cannot just go into the blue, right? So you have to have something in mind, what you want to test your customers against, or some assumptions that should become true or false, or you should have some KPIs. Yeah, if you want to look something up, the North Star KPI method is quite a good one, that it's also ready from the tools. And of course, and this is something I was struggling quite often, is you have to ability to measure actually the outcome of your hypothesis, right? If you cannot measure what you want to, then you cannot tell if you are successful or the hypothesis are right. So this is for me the preparation, actually, or the core in the preparation. There's a lot more, but I try to focus on the key stuff. So, and as it's product discovery, the tools I'm regularly using, of course, is UX research. So the whole team needs to go out and talk to customers, potential customers, users, whatever, and not only the UX researcher. That is my recommendation if it's a new product, right? Because like, oh, we have a UX guy, let's give him that. But it's important that and this also Alex and Kurt said, it's important that the whole team understands the product, right? Some great hacks, for example, are, I call them blank doors. Yeah, we really launch just pictures from our website and put heat maps behind, and not to all the users on the page, but to a minimum amount, and see how they were clicking, right? And they were wondering why it's not working, but you can see from how they click actually if they like something or how they find something. It's a very radical approach, but it gives you really, really early stage insights of what happens to your product or to your page or whatever. The same, for example, with just blank buttons or small landing pages where like, hey, you want to learn about this, click here. And if you click, then hey, thanks. Yeah, we will get back to you soon, but you get really data. This is what it's all about.
It
Um,
is all about data, yeah.
Yeah, so a real classic, of course, A/B testing, right? So just show the product or the new feature to actually only a few of your users and see if something is changing, the KPIs you want, or are they interested or something. And then, of course, and this is why you have the hypothesis at the beginning, you have to get back together with the whole team and see, okay, what part of the hypothesis we're validating, what is the data saying us, and then from there go in iterations to then improve what you have. So either it can be that it's super successful and great, then job done, but mostly is that you get feedback you haven't even thought about, and then you and then you will iterate to improve actually the user experience, the product, the features, whatever you want to work on.
I love everything you just mentioned. Everything. It was brilliant. Thank you very much, Renee. And now, one of the advantages of having a session like this is that the audience can truly ask big and small questions. It can be a very big one as for how you do a process, and you can go very nitty picky into a specific scenario and ask this wonderful mentors here what to do then. And our next question is actually of that kind, because this is going to be a super specific one, because Max is asking you, how do you think about the effects of Apple privacy updates on digital marketing for e-commerce companies? Maxime is one of our alumni mentees, so it's always happy to see him here in the audience. And this is a great question, and it goes to you, Kurt.
Well, before I jump on that, Maxine, and this carries into it, as the only person of these four that's actually based in the US, as well as wear sunglasses, I expect a discount. You can post it online, we can benefit to everything else and everything from there on out. But getting back to this question, that's an example of internal controls over the entire tracking experience. That Alex's discount code might be specific to this particular event, and he knows what type of results that function delivers. Now, what do you think about the effects of the Apple privacy update? I think it's fantastic, to be honest. And I come from a product marketing background before I joined the dark side into product management, and the amount of access that I had on information on consumers and users and everything like that, it was almost data overload. And in many cases, it's okay if our marketers have to work a little bit harder to figure out how users are coming in, and that doesn't make me popular with the marketing department. But I I don't see. I mean, as someone who's has about 10 years in mobile app experience, I think it's fantastic because there is too much that we can track on. And as a product manager, I don't need to know how many steps you take in a particular day to sell you some celery. I really just don't need that information. And so it's a mutual respect between the retailer and the customer. And in many cases, it might impact how we target our ads. It might impact how we track and see return users. But if those tools aren't set up within your own system, it's an opportunity for you to really step up. So it's a good thing, in my opinion.
I love it. I love it when you bring the unpopular ideas and opinions about stuff. This is where things are getting more interesting. Alex, of course you can add in, Kurt.
Thank you. And I'll email you that discount code shortly, Kurt. I have to say that you can use this for the better. So you can use it as a catalyst to introduce some changes. So for example, okay, anything that's got to do with making sure that we prioritize users creating an account or logging in, you can use that update. Now, retention, obviously, you're talking about email marketing. So now we're moving from looking at opens to looking at the actual clicks. So again, there's no, like you said, no vanity metrics. So you're kind of moving closer and closer to the truth and making sure you're actually investing in building a relationship with your customer instead of relying on third-party data or on their actual, involuntary data, and you actually are working to create that first party or zero party, as they and to call it, relationship with the customer versus what the marketing usually does, which is what the marketing usually does. So I think you can turn that for the better for you if you're a product manager and you're getting all these privacy updates. For the users, it's great. People are very excited about this. They appreciate it. If you whatever, listen to Joe Rogan avidly defending Apple on his podcast, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the privacy of the users, and they view it in a positive light. And you can use it as your shield, to kind of say, "Hey, we're here for you. We want to build this relationship properly." So that's my
I like it.
5
So, you
cents.
know,
And I think
marketers, they may have gotten spoiled or lazy over the last 10 years, but here's an opportunity for product to step up and say, hey, look, I understand what's coming down the pipes from Apple. Let's work on trying to figure out ways to cement the relationship and figure out ways of improving the conversion point so that we have better tracking that we don't necessarily have today.
you know what is interesting is that I'm pretty sure there will be alternatives in the market. I don't know if you have heard, there was already a big group of companies. They come up with something like the individual customer profile, which is stored in your browser. So you can set everything you want. Like, okay, this is something they can know, this is not, and everybody is supposed to consume that in the browser. But I think even Google was involved somehow, but the project was stopped. I don't know which reasons, but I like the idea of having an alternative where I say, okay, when I'm surfing and when I'm going to web pages, this is where I see a benefit in giving away the data and the tracking. And this, of course, something I expect in return, right?
Yes, exactly right. Thank you, all of you. I think this was a brilliant discussion. Thank you very much. And we're staying with all of you because Matt has a question to ask all of you. And he's asking, as an e-commerce product manager, I know it's all about tests, not only A/B tests, but all kinds of. So please, guys, tell us, what is the most interesting test that you had the chance to run, and what did you learn that was so surprising? Okay, so we're going to learn from you about tests, and Alex, we're starting with you.
I think Rene knocked it out of the park. I mean, there's nothing more to add. I actually sent you a link to learningloop.io, and you can share it with all the participants. It contains a lot of those useful ideas. So I think that if, as a product manager, obviously you're familiar with A/B testing, great, but there are a lot of other product discovery techniques. Rene brilliantly mentioned the fake door or the fake button. And there are plenty others, if you think about this, such as collecting pre-orders. And I mean, I have nothing more to add to that. The fact that product discovery, I would bring this question more to not what tests, but what is product discovery and why you should be doing more of it. And just to be remiss to mention the dual track kind of discovery and delivery, and to say that a lot of product managers in e-commerce or elsewhere are greatly focused on delivery, whereas their job should contain at least 50%, let's say, of product discovery. And if you want to learn more about product discovery, there are a great many sources, not least among them, Teresa Torres' book about continuous product discovery. So, like, to answer about a specific test and what we learn, I think the most valuable thing you can learn from here is make product discovery a part of your day-to-day work. Make sure you leave enough time for that. And then those tests that you usually run on production, after all the risk has been already taken and after all the effort has been expanded, do those early validation tests, whether it's demand validation, such as making sure it's a fake button to buy. And then you would say, what's the value of that? Well, you can make it an actual pre-order. You can have the user so interested in this fake landing page that they would be willing to take out their card and click pay now. But then you say, well, this has been a test, and you wrap it around in a nice little bow, and you give them to them as a gift. Maybe you give them a coupon for thanking them for their participation, and then you kind of get demand validation with some reasonable, truth to that, some reasonable credibility, and you run as many tests as possible before you actually get to building the product, which is all about product discovery. So thank you, Rene, for hitting it out of the park completely.
You're welcome.
I like this online cooperation between you two guys. And Alex, thank you also very much, not only for the answer you provided us, but also for the links that I just shared with our viewers in the chat, so everyone can learn a little bit more about the tricks that Alex can share with you. And Kurt, what about you? Interesting test that you had the chance to run.
Oh, I'm still waiting for that discount code, Alex. But it's like, come on.
I'm sorry.
Um,
Now all his attention is on us at the moment.
and hey, you might want to open it up to the audience as well. Who knows?
Who
Um,
knows?
as a e-commerce product manager, we are so numbers focused, and the quantitative data that comes in can be overwhelming. Quantitative data tells you what happened. It doesn't tell you why. And I find that a lot of product managers have overlooked the qualitative portion of it. So instead of, and so one of the projects that we've done, and we just kind of put this into a habit, is putting in a micro survey. So let's say you made an improvement on the checkout process, or you tweaked a um, onboarding process, whatever it is. Being able to have not sending it to everyone, but maybe a small sample of 5, maybe 10% of your audience, have a micro survey pop up of 2 questions. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, um, what do you think of this process? What do you think of this improvement? And then have an open question that is optional, and you'll be surprised at the litany of feedback that people give you. And it's like, don't overlook the qualitative, because that in that information, it can tell you and give you feedback that strict numbers never will. So
I love it. So it's all about the numbers, but it's also about what stands behind the numbers. Exactly right, Kurt. Thank you very much. And Renee, last but not least.
Yeah, I cannot agree more, Kurt. So let my little story, it's actually something that happened, and it also gives you some insights how you can actually quickly come to an outcome, right? So I used to work for Europe's biggest electronic retailer or omni-channel retailer, and we saw data in the basket from our loyalty customers that we have a high proportion of basket abortion when it comes to laptops and computers. And this was really, really significant, right? And we was like, what the hell is going on there? So we were looking at the data, we were talking to customers, and actually it came out that they think, yeah, if the price decrease is so big every day, and if I buy something now in 2 weeks, it's 110% cheaper. So we did a little design thinking with 2 days, 3 days, and come up with ideas how to resolve the issue. And we actually developed something that we call price guarantee, right? So it should give customers the guarantee, if you buy that item now and in the next 4 weeks within our company retail or online shop, you will find the item cheaper, you'll get the difference as a coupon for your next purchase. And we were all excited about the idea. We were testing it internally. We were talking to some of the customers, and then we decided, hey, that's cool. Let's prioritize it, because the impact we calculated or expected were quite big. So what we did is we did a feature team refinement. So we gathered the POs and the lead developers of all involved teams, the business stakeholders, everybody in one room for a couple of hours, and we come up with a solution that was minimal invasive to our tech teams, right? And a lot of students we hired to do all the manual work in Excel and all the stuff, but actually it took only like 2 sprints and the teams were ready. And then we started testing it in several countries, and the success was tremendous. So far so good. This was 2018. So the feature went live a couple of weeks ago. So find the issue in the matrix, right? So, and this is why I'm telling the story. If you show success, yeah, doesn't mean that the features, and this is now again the internal stakeholders, these are our country units who have the operational and commercial responsibility for their shops, not us as product, right? So we were building it, we were testing it, it was working amazingly. The country say, hey, cool, but actually nobody took it live because they have to operate this, right? And they have to take care of it because we weren't. We were just building the stuff, right? And we had to give it into operations to our countries, and they declined. So obviously, it seems that we built it waste for a couple of years because we fully developed the feature in a really like 7 to 8 sprints, that everything is working automatically. But actually, we were building great waste for 4 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I was surprised. I had to restrain myself from writing a comment. Hey, is this our feature we built 4 years ago, as this was published on LinkedIn? So, well.
Wow, what a great story. Thank you very much, Renee, for sharing that. And yeah, this is behind the scene, the real behind the scenes of product management, guys. This is what's really happening. Thank you very much. And we're staying with you because John has a question to you. And he's asking, and a very interesting one. He's asking how to become an e-commerce product manager if I don't have experience managing an e-commerce product.
Oh yeah, that's a very good one, John. So first of all, you have experience in e-commerce because you are buying online, you're going to stores, everything. So you have experience as a customer, not as a product manager, but having the experience as a customer gives you already some insights of what you want. Yeah. So, and when I was hiring people, and we were hiring a lot in my last assignment, with like 60 people under 12 months. So I was looking, let's say, for 2.5 things. So the half thing always was the right mindset. Yeah. So as you know, who always says you don't hire for skills, you hire for mindset, right? And this is also something I fully support. So I was always looking for people who have the right mindset towards agile working, and making mistakes and all this kind of stuff, and of course to take over responsibility, right? And the two other things I was looking for is you have experience as a PM or PO, but in another field, because then you have the fundamentals, or you have any kind of e-commerce experience somewhere in the, let's say, in the chain from product data to, I don't know, checkout, logistics or whatever, so that you understand the process, right? So, and as I said, in the interview questions, I was asking, especially to juniors, most of the time questions where their common sense as a customer would be able to tell me the answer. And I think also, I don't know if you're a junior, John, or whatever, but this is your biggest weapon when it comes to interviews, right? Your common sense and your own experience, because you don't need to know anything about the e-commerce, but you can derive things from your own experience, right? So, and if you have this kind of ground to start from, I mean, this is the case where then I don't know, a more experienced product manager or your leader or whatever comes into place to really, guide you through, coach you. Yeah, you do your own learnings, and I think this is the fundamentals. So of course, what you else, as e-commerce is so broad, from really like, from how to get customers on your page until how to get the items to the customers and returns and customer care. This is such a broad knowledge where there is beautiful literature and everything around. Yeah, so you just need to Google a bit. And of course, highly recommended, find somebody that has this kind of knowledge. So for example, here on Product League, a little bit commercials. Yeah, so it helps. Yeah, there's a lot of people with e-commerce experience, so you can just ask the guys, prepare yourself for interviews. Yeah, so this is what I can recommend. But I think the best base is you being a customer.
Brilliant tips. Thank you very much, Renee. And we are moving to you, Kurt, with a question that comes from Alicia. And she's asking, in my experience, customer loyalty metrics seem to take a backseat to short or midterm financial metrics in e-commerce. Has been your experience? And as a PM who is passionate about customer loyalty and currently working in e-commerce, am I simply working in the wrong sector? Or should I push my company harder to make a loyalty the priority?
It depends on the size of your company, but I think you're working at the wrong company. Unless you're selling cars that you buy once every 3 to 5 years, or you're selling washer and dryers that you buy at even a longer frequency, you want returning customers. And if you're not you're not tracking retention, your company's shooting itself in the foot. So yes, it is an opportunity to push for tracking loyalty. It's critical about that. Granted, I come from a kind of a general merchandise grocery industry, so just imagine if someone went online to my virtual grocery store and bought something and never came back. That's not really a customer. And in many cases, I pushed back against my team to say, hey, look, a customer is someone who comes back at least a second time, if not a third. And a lot of e-commerce companies don't track an actual active customer until they make that second order. So if if your company is overlooking loyalty, yes, it is an opportunity. If you get pushback from that, you're really working at the wrong company. So
now let's break it down a little, because obviously there is the acquisition cost. Okay, if we're talking about it financially, why it doesn't make sense not to track loyalty and to increase loyalty. But tell us a little bit more, above the financial aspect of it. Why doesn't it make sense to you?
Let's talk about the financial aspect of it. Your customer acquisition cost, that first order is probably not going to be profitable, especially if you have a high cost of acquisition. And so you need that customer to come back a first, second, and third time. I mean, if you're selling a Land Rover, okay, maybe we can argue about that. But if you're selling an item that people purchase every day, every month, even once or twice a year, that frequency matters. And if you are not looking at what are the triggers to bring that customer back, whether it's an incentive, whether it's email marketing, whatever that is, then you're throwing away money. You might as well just take the marketing team's money and whatever they haven't burned early, just take a lighter to the rest, because retention is critical in e-commerce. And if your company is not looking into that, again, opportunity to update or opportunity to leave.
A great insight. Thank you very much, Kurt. And Alex, now we have a question from Ashley. This question goes to you, and she's asking, what is your tip on how can I be more innovative when it comes to e-commerce product management? I feel like my team and I are always behind the market.
So first of all, I want to say thank you to Kurt for being so curt about it and saying what I think. Loyalty is a priority, and if you're saying it's a priority but you're not putting the budget where your mouth is, well, that's your undoing. Now, the issue about innovation, I want to kind of try to break it down, because there are a few things. First of all, you may be focusing too much on delivery, Ashley, or whoever it is. You're maybe emulating your competitors. People are coming to you, bringing you the features, and you just need to deliver on them. So delivery mindset will definitely put you behind the competition if you're only focusing on that. So if 90% of your day or your month or your week is just about making sure to specify the stories and you broken down and you did it, and you're not thinking about what you're doing, you're not seeing the bigger picture, innovation is hard. Second, I would say be practical. Try to understand why. So there's a great framework called evidence-based management, and it breaks it down into 4 key domains, current value and unrealized value being one of them, but obviously there is time to market, and innovation. Those 2 are broken down into further metrics. So you can ask yourself, you can take a look at that guide, which is available for free from scrum.org. I think just look up evidence-based management or EBM guide, you'll find it. And you can kind of try and break it down. What's your problem? What's the innovation rate of your company? And you can try and bring it up to whoever is kind of, the person with the money, the one to control the budget. And you can say, hey, so we're trying to be an innovative company, but we're really spending 5% of our budget on actual innovation. The rest is spent on technical debt, on this, on that. And the third part is what I previously mentioned. So get good at discovery. If you want to be innovative, you can't just copy your competitors. That will get you second, third, fourth, tenth, whatever it may be, but you will never be able to kind of understand why you're doing things. And Simon Sinek put it brilliantly. We start with why, but this is the essence, talking with your customers, having actual user interviews with your customers on a weekly basis, putting a couple of hours into that, putting a lot of your time into discovery techniques. And, somebody like Marty Coggan in his book Inspired put an almost impossible threshold. Have 10, 20 tests a week. Most of us don't run 10, 20 A/B tests a month, maybe a quarter. How is it even possible? Well, the thing about discovery is having your technological partner, and let's say if it's a UI product, having your UX, UI designer close by your side, having that trio set up in place. And a lot of places don't. They have a separate design department, a separate development department, they have a product department, and they're all siloed in. Make sure you get that trio to sit as close as possible, spiritually, if not physically, and have them spend at least, like I said, 50% of their time on just discovery, trying to think about ideas. Just a lot of ideas break down at the framing. Just let's try to frame this. Let's try to put this on paper. Let's try to write a potential press release for that feature that the CEO asked us. And then you write it down and it looks bad. And you can ask the CEO to write a potential press release for whatever he or she are asking, right? And if it doesn't look good, just try to introduce the product discovery process. So those are the three things. Again, you may be focusing too much on delivery. If you do that, try to learn and focus more about discovery. And if you're not sure what is going wrong, look at evidence-based management as the key to your answer. That guide is free. Teresa Torres' book or Marty Coggan book are not free, but they're invaluable. Best of luck to you.
Amazing
let me add
answer.
something.
Of course,
So
Renee.
I fully agree with Alex. That would be the ideal situation. But you have to look, what is your company capable of? First movers, or if you want to be an early adapter, so you copy all the good stuff in the market and put it together as an excellent product, could be also a strategy. So the question I would have to you is why you want to be more innovative. Yeah, do you think you miss out business opportunities, or does your stakeholders or you want to be more innovative or whatever? But you have to think about if this is really what you need to make your business successful. Or my team, once a week, 1 hour, we shut down our Outlook, we shut down our mobile phones and did nothing else but research on customer care. And what we found was so impressive. And if we would have copied all the good stuff, we would be an amazing, innovative, for Germany, right, company. So you just have to look out what is there, what companies doing great, and maybe copy it. This is also some form of innovation, right? But I fully agree with Alex. That would be awesome if you can do that.
The trap that a lot of product managers get in is they try to mimic what their competitors are doing. Your competitors are not your customers. And if you constantly look to follow what your number one or two competitors are trying to do and duplicate that, and there's plenty of companies that do that, let's be honest, you're overlooking your customer. So yeah, if there's a sweet feature that you might see, like for example, when I was at Albertsons, we had grocery chains, or big companies own multiple different grocery chains, and we can't have separate apps for each of them. But you don't want a logo to take up so much real estate on a mobile app because they're not that much. And so we were looking for ways of doing it. Then I saw what Google was doing online, in that they had their logo appear, but then it faded away into a search engine queue or a search engine opening. That's something you can definitely duplicate. Look beyond your competitors, look for inspiration elsewhere, but for those types of elements. But if you are looking more at your competitors than your customers, you're going to be a huge laggard, and that's not what you want to be.
I love everything you guys just mentioned. Every single thing you just mentioned. I love it very much. And now I'm happy and excited to introduce a new format of questions in our Ask Me Anything sessions, where we ask the mentors to ask themselves and to answer as well the question that was not asked. So we ask each one of the mentors here to think, what is the question that they wished you were asking them, and to give you the answer that may change your career. Now, here is the thing before we start: we've got 10 minutes, 3 questions that were not asked, and a long list of wonderful questions from the audience in our chat. So, guys, the mic is going to be yours in just a few seconds, where we're going to make it work because we don't have a lot of time. So, I need some of your cooperation here. And Alex, we're starting with you. What is the question that you wished for the audience to ask you?
Well, that's a tough one, Maria. Thank you for putting the spotlight directly at me first, so I can sweat it out here on air. So, what I wish people ask was just how to start in product management in general. What are the things that kind of you wish you did early on that you didn't do? So it kind of relates to what Renee said, but in different light. And I would say that it doesn't matter if you're an e-commerce product manager or if you're any type of product manager. Some of the things I wish I knew when I was just starting on, and I kind of my first position was very, very challenging indeed, because I grew from a technical product manager to be head of product very, very quickly. So some of the things I wish I would have done early on, whether it's an individual contributor or like a product leader, is I wish I would have dedicated more time for myself to acquire skills, not to drown in the daily work. And that means for me that if you're just starting out as a product manager, well, that's great. There's an abundance of courses which may not give you the answer in and of themselves, such as Professional Scrum Product Owner, and especially the advanced course on that, which is a 2-day course, or Agile Management, or Management 3.0 with the wonderful Jürgen Appelo, or which is it's a workshop that's done by others. Okay, or just read a book like like the ones that I already mentioned, Inspired or Empowered. Just set time for yourself. Take that budget that you would have spent on anything else, and just book that course. Don't wait for your workplace to do it for you, especially if you're just starting out. Don't wait for anybody else. Just take that time and set for yourself a schedule. So on this year, I'm going to take 3-4 courses. I'm going to do it directly with, whether it's a product management focused one, it's an agile process focused one, it's agile management, discovery, anything that you can do. And that would be the one question that I would have asked, and one thing that I wish I would have done earlier. Every one of those experiences changed me for the better, and I only wish that I had known about each of them sooner. So that's my number one kind of tip. That's the number one answer. A great mentor obviously goes a long way. I feel like, in my batch here, I'm like a curator of knowledge, and I'm doing all the shortcuts for the mentee with whom I am working. But if I'm not mentoring you on a personal level, just take this as a tip. Just do that for yourself. Take the Professional Scrum Product Owner, take the advanced one, learn what a Scrum Master does, and focus also on the discovery aspect of that. Read a book, read a couple of books, set that time off, block it off in your calendar. Do nothing else, like Renee said. Turn off your phone, do anything. Do it every morning. This is what I do. The first 2 hours of every morning is me time. No, nothing else, no meetings. Do that, you won't believe the returns. I think that one of the earlier talks in Product League mentioned it. The product is you, right? Sorry if I don't remember the name of the wonderful speaker there.
It was with Vivek Bedi, yes.
Vivek Bedi, yeah. The product is you. So every investment is into you is going to pay huge dividends. And in Russian, they say you need time to chop the wood, but you also need time to sharpen the axe. And it's in every language, right? So you need that time to sharpen the axe, and you need to set off time to do that. And a lot of time you're just drowning in work. So do that favor for yourself.
I love it. Invest in yourself to become the best product manager you can be. Absolutely wise words, Alex. Thank you very much. Kurt, what is the one question that was not asked, but we should have asked you?
Well, I mean, I'll jump off what Alex said, but take a different tack on it. You got to take care of yourself. Um, Product management jobs have a high burnout rate because we have our fingers in everything. And trying to prioritize your time, all that stuff, you're not going to be a good product manager if you're so buried in details by working 6, 7 days a week that your head's going to explode. I've burned out before. I understand what that is, but take some time, even during the workday, to just go out and go for a walk. I mean, there's a 55-pound bulldog behind me. He keeps me coming out of the house at least 2 to 3 times a day, if not more. So take care of yourself first. Now, the question I was going to ask is, what was the biggest mistake you've made in the last 3 years? And I can talk from my own perspective, is losing perspective. Um, you need to constantly reinforce in yourself that you are not the product, you are not the customer, because when you start believing like that, your bias starts clouding everything that you're working on. And and a lot of us have been in meetings say, well, that's a feature I wouldn't use. Well, that's fine, but you're not our only customer. We got thousands more. So
Yeah, yeah, I like both of the tips that you gave the audience, and apparently Pamela loves it as well. As we're saying, yes, we should invest in ourselves. Thank you for this reminder, and thank you for the reminder of us not being the customer. Much, much needed. And Renee, what would you have wished the audience to ask you? A
Before I
question
answer
that
that,
was not asked.
yeah, before I answer that, Alex, fun fact: in Germany, they have started the first professorship in a university of product management. So it's like the major after your foundational study. So yeah, so the question I would ask is, what is the perfect agile framework to do product management? The answer is very simple: everyone that works. Yeah. So I can just recommend to every one of you, don't go into this evangelism of this has to be Scrum or it has to be this way, or just find for your own company, for your culture, for the people that work with you, what works. Yeah, how collaboration with stakeholders works, how collaboration with your team works. You can use every single ceremony or document or whatever from every framework you like, and try if it's working or not. Now, this is what I would give to everybody here.
I love it. Actually, it was yesterday, I think, that I interviewed someone for the team, and I was asking about ceremonies, and he was saying exactly that. And I was like, yes, I was so happy to hear this answer. So thank you very much. And now we've got some questions from the audience, and we are starting from a question from Shai, who was so excited, guys, about having your answer that he actually submitted it both on LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, this is how much excited this guy is about having the chance to ask you a question. And he's asking, what techniques are you using to personalize the experience?
So I can actually start off because I just typed in the answer in the LinkedIn chat to his question. So obviously, just making sure that I'm gathering contextual data. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're a glasses user, and a lot of us are, myself as well, but just not for this computer, mostly for distance. So inside this whole purchase of buying glasses, well, you can ask a person about age, etc., out of context, and you're not likely to get a great answer. But then, if you're asking them about their habits when they're trying to decide what type of glasses to buy, so you ask them about how much physical activity do you do, and is it outside or it's inside, indoors, and how much driving do you do, whether it's at night, during the day, etc. That data is contextual, right? It's apt to ask. And then right at the end of the funnel, you give them some suggestions based on the data they just put in, and you explain why you did suggest those things. So that people, you establish a pattern of reciprocity. You ask them for some data, you ask them for their trust, And especially for first-time users or etc., it's very difficult to trust you, right? They're not where you think they are usually. And then you put it in context, which is vital. A lot of times people ask you to sign up and just fill in a long list of your data. Why should I do that just to open an account? No point putting that data there. I mean, birthday, that feels like intrusion. But if you ask it in context, okay, and then you kind of justify it, you give them some value almost immediately after they provide you with the data. Well, you created a personalized experience, and you also establish this give and take. You give us some data, we give you some value in return. And that way of kind of establishing that pattern is going a long way towards not only establishing personalization, but your credibility as a brand, okay? Where you don't just randomly ask for pieces of data out of the blue, but you are thinking like the customer would. And you can only do that if you understand them. So you would understand people that work out a lot, they don't use glasses. Why? Glasses fall off. A lot of time people work out, they put contacts in, right? Just as an example of something you can only learn, you can understand what they're buying. You can never understand why they're buying that particular item with that particular frequency, etc., only if you talk to them. So that funnel is born out of personalization in a lot of user interviews.
Love
Yeah,
it. Thank
I
you very
mean,
much, Alex. Yes, Rene, but shortly, because I do want us to have the chance to answer another question. So go ahead.
progressive profiling, look at it. I worked for a company where their onboarding process had 13 questions on a mobile app. That was ridiculous. So ask questions over time, because my age doesn't really matter for who I am as a purchaser for the most part.
Loving it. Thank you very much. Rene, did you want to add anything? No. Okay,
All good.
because we have another question from the audience. It goes to you, and it's asked about the differences between markets. So this YouTube user is asking, what is the main difference between the American customer to any other else, and how would you recommend studying this market? Let's try to answer it shortly.
Although I'm an NFL and 49ers fan, I think Kurt is the better one to answer that question. I'm from Germany. I can tell you a lot about German customer behavior, but the American, not quite. I mean, to study markets, that's always the same. If you would ask me, right? Try to get some insights on the markets. Try to do your homework on market size, users, competitors. Yeah, to have a look at what the guys are doing. And if you have the opportunity, do some user research with local users. I mean, especially in the US, I'm pretty sure that the behavior is quite different along the states, as they are so big, right? From the East Coast to the West Coast. I don't believe that you can put a pattern over there. So you have to think about areas which you want to focus your business on and start from there. But this is how I would do research when to launch for a new market. I don't know if this is answering your question. But I think Kurt can give you more insights on the American customer
London
if you want.
taxi drivers have this thing called do the knowledge. And so they know where to go because they've actually driven around London. They've been through that spot. So if you have the luxury and you're looking to enter in a new market, get your butt to that market and try to understand. If you're looking to see how Germans buy eyeglasses and if it's any different than how Americans or the Swiss or whoever else does it, go to Germany if you can justify it. If not, try to understand and try to go on different websites, because you can find patterns there. The way that people in the U.S. buy groceries is dramatically different based on age group, based on family size, based on so many different factors. And I can tell you from my own experience, my own research, the cutting edge of grocery delivery is actually in the UK. It's not in the US. So we're laggards on that one.
Interesting.
Yeah, Germany is just
Very.
starting with all the groceries delivery. That is totally new here. As we are in quarantine at the moment, try to find somebody who delivers stuff to us here. That is a tough one.
Yeah.
So. Nice, very interesting, guys. Now I'm going to challenge you here, okay? Because there is a really good question that was submitted, but we have no time, so you're going to make it work for us, and you're going to answer it with as little, exactly right, Alex, as little words as possible. And this, I'm sorry, I think Roy Levin, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Is this user is asking, this viewer is asking, how do you get customer feedback? So one tip from each and any one of you on how to get amazing customer feedback, because this is essential for us as product managers, especially e-commerce one. Go ahead.
I mentioned it earlier, ask for it. Don't ask for it in surveys. Ask for it when they're deep into the process or they just finished the process.
Love it. And thank you for following the challenge. Thank you very much. Renee?
Ask for it. There's no other, there is nothing to add. I mean, you have to find channels how to get in touch with your customers and then ask them.
Loving it as well. And Alex, do you have anything to add on this repetitive tip?
Yeah, sure. So make it work for you with one-on-one user interviews. Like I said, at least a couple of hours a week. And there's a very simple way to do it. Use a tool like Calendly or something else. You make sure you clear your schedule. And when you come into work on a Monday or Sunday or whatever it is, you have already those interviews scheduled for you every week on a week-to-week basis. You can add some sophistication by filtering some users, and that may take some work. But make sure those user interviews are pre-scheduled for you on a weekly basis, and you come in, you talk to actual users every week, and ask for it. Ask for the feedback. Couldn't agree more.
This is how to do it.
I mean, how I don't know even the English word for this. How amazing that could be for me if I would get a pop-up on a page where I'm frequently at. You want to actually talk to a product manager, put a calendar invite here. I've never seen this before in any shop here in Germany, and I would love to tell some product managers quite sometimes what they are doing.
It's up to me. Look for that in 2023.
And also important, pay for it. Pay for it by giving a gift card, giving something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Should have mentioned that. Yeah, absolutely.
Make that an expectation. Make that a follow-up. Say, hey, appreciate your top feedback. Here's a $50 gift card to buy something.
Absolutely.
Thank
you very much.
Tell them your opinion.
Yeah,
that would work in Germany. You don't need to give them any discount. In Germany, it works. Just tell them how bad they are. Everybody will tell you.
What, Germans are critical?
No.
I told you it's going to be a product party online. I told you that we're having fun here. I had such a great time having you all here. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. It was just a wonderful, wonderful session. Guys, from San Francisco, United States, this is Cord Prince, Senior Product Manager at Kroger and Product League Mentor. From Germany, from Bavaria, Renee Aboul Allah, Principal at Involved and Product League Mentor. And from Tel Aviv, Israel, Alex Razor, Senior Product Manager at Glasses USA and Product League Mentor. I am Moria Cassis. This is Product League. These guys, these wonderful mentors, our Product League. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us. We can't wait to support you in becoming the best PM you can be. Don't forget to join us on our next Ask Me Anything session. And until then, guys, go leg it up. Bye-bye.
Pleasure, guys. Have a nice evening.
Hey, where's my discount, Alex? Come on.
It's in your email, Kurt.